We are wrapping up 2021, and although this year wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be going into the new year, there's been a lot of exciting new music, movies, entertainment that we've all been able to enjoy. I got my friend here, Dash, here from the mix to go over our favorites. So not necessarily the biggest of the year, but the things that we enjoyed of this year. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just happy to get through the holidays safely and see some loved ones, even if it's through FaceTime, and play new music for everybody on air at 101.9 The Mix. That's always just like a pleasure of mine as a local, just talking on the radio here.
So let's talk a little bit about New Year's Eve. Are you guys counting down the biggest hits of the year? Is there anything planned special for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
Yeah, so we just did a countdown of some of the biggest songs of the year on The Mix, but I think we'll either replay it or also just kind of reiterate the songs we loved, thought were the biggest over 2021. And there's some cool surprises. Like if you asked me 8 months ago which song of Olivia Rodrigo's off her album Sour was going to be the biggest, I would have said Driver's License. But, like 8 months later, I'm like, you know what? I think it's Good for You. I think it's not the first song she blew up that kind of basically like turned and broke the internet. I think it's the second one she put out as a single that gave us all Paramore vibes, Travis Barker on the drums, like it brought everyone right back to this like early 2000s angsty punk pop. And I think in Chicago, we're all Fall Out Boy fans. So like, it was so great to have that vibe back, especially we playing it on the radio. So yeah, like Good for You is one of my favorites. Machine Gun Kelly is like right in that same vein of pop punk coming right back to be mainstream. So his song, My Ex's Best Friend, I mean, and Travis Barker from Blink-182, the drummer, being a part of a lot of the production of these tracks is part of the reason I think it hits us so hard and is so good. So those two have been great. I mean, you got new stuff from TikTok artists like Tate McRae, and even I think one of my personal favorites, we really only play it during my Mixed New Music Club hour at 10 p.m., is Willow Smith, who you might remember from I Whip My Hair Back and Forth like a decade ago, and also being Will Smith's daughter. She has this band called The Anxiety, and they have a song that basically broke TikTok, maybe not the full internet, called Meet Me at Our Spot. And that song is so good too, and kind of a little more undercover, which if you want me to talk about undercover songs outside of like the Machine Gun Kellys and Olivia Rodrigo's, you got like Phoebe Bridgers doing this cover of Bo Burnham's song, That Funny Feeling, which it gives me chills. It's goosebump inducing. And then you've got some like other hits that maybe came out before this year, but blew up on TikTok this year, like Jack Stauber, Oklahoma. There's so many good songs and so many cool ways to hear them and find new music this year.
Oh, exactly. Now let's talk favorite songs. You named off a couple of artists right there. Do you have one that was maybe your theme song or one that you love listening to that was, say, this is Dash's favorite song of 2021?
I think, it's funny being on the radio. I hear these songs probably more than anyone else. And so they can fatigue themselves after a while. But man, after seeing Machine Gun Kelly do My Ex's Best Friend in a surprise performance at Lollapalooza, it really turned into like my anthem for a couple of months. And then outside of that, if like I want to get solemn, I go to like there's a band called Rainbow Kitten Surprise, and they have a song called Free Fall, and that one's so good too. So I jump between like really big hits like that one from Machine Gun Kelly and Good for You, Olivia Rodrigo's the perfect like Peloton workout song, and then like in quieter times wanting to hear like a Jack Stauber song and a Phoebe Bridgers cover and stuff like that. So yeah, it all depends on the moment. I mean, I love the pop songs we play too. That's kind of the coolest thing.
I think for me, Levitating, because it reminds me of working out. I hear it on the radio all the time, and it's such a great song, and it always puts me in a good mood. So, but I know I've heard it at least 8 times a day, every single day this year. And
that's my fault. I probably played it.
Thanks a lot, but it's stuck in my head. But I think it reminds me of just like one of those like summer days where you get to be outside and like you're just carefree. It reminds me of like working really hard when you're on, Peloton, or if you're doing a workout class, and it's just one of those like motivating songs. And then Ed Sheeran, Bad Habits. I love Ed Sheeran, and I love the new direction that his music's taking. So I think those are my two favorite songs of the year.
He's made a fun pivot to like the point where you'd hear his songs. I mean, Levitating, immediately I think of like, it's funny, we all interpret music in our own ways, which is the best. But like I hear that song and I'm immediately like, I think I'm at Beauty Bar or Celeste in Chicago on this disco type floor dancing. Like that's where I go immediately. And some of Ed Sheeran's new music, Shivers too. You're like, man, this is a upbeat pop song. Like he wants to be out partying. I might see Ed in River North, like just going ham. So yeah, those are two great songs by two huge artists too. I mean, and Taylor Swift, Taylor's version came out this year too, which is kind of an internet breaker, and that was really fun. And it's funny to see Jake Gyllenhaal be on like the blunt side of a lot of like Swiftie angst.
I mean, it was not even less than like 5 minutes after that performance on SNL that Jake Gyllenhaal was trending online.
Yeah, you got to watch out in today's world. I think he stayed quiet, which was probably the best move. Do I know if he still has her scarf? I think probably not. I'm not sure. Maybe it's framed somewhere.
It might be framed, or check on eBay, see if he pops it up on there. Favorite concert? Where did you go this year? And do you have a favorite memory?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't get to go to many. I did like a Dave Matthews Band at Northern Ireland and was way too far out in the lawn, would not suggest it. But like, I mean, Lollapalooza was awesome. Like, can you imagine? And I love Dave Matthews Band in most other ways and as a jam band, but Lollapalooza, like being able to like go from Megan Thee Stallion to Whitney, you know, the Chicago indie based band who I'm friends with a lot of the guys, like, and then in between accidentally getting caught at a Machine Gun Kelly surprise concert where he's not even billed for it. And seeing Ty Verdes, who's pretty new on the block and one of my favorite artists to kind of break through this year, to see him play 4 different times and lose his voice and then come up to the studio for an interview and you know, be like hoarse as he's trying to do his own songs. That was great too. I loved seeing him. Foo Fighters, I think, would have to be my hands down favorite though. I think Dave Grohl's like one of the last of the Mohicans in terms of rock stars. And he's kind of the end of an era and he's still doing it. And he's so cool to see play live. He jams. And the place was just so crazy. I can't believe everyone ended up okay in hindsight.
Well, that was the first big concert that we had this year, is that everyone was wondering, is Lollapalooza going to take place? Because a lot of the street festivals this summer couldn't even have the normal cover bands and entertainment they were going to have. And we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with Lollapalooza. So I think for me too, Megan's the Stallion, it was beautiful weather, you know, all the songs, everybody was in a good mood. I mean, I think that was the highlight of my summer right there.
It doesn't feel like it could have happened this year, right? It feels like it was this weird window where everything was kind of okay for 2-3 weeks.
Exactly.
And, I got to sneak a birthday party in there in Wicker Park too. It was like that 2-week period where we were told if you're vaxxed, you can have indoor parties without masks on. And we did that. And once again, you know, maybe it's because everyone's in their 20s and really healthy, but like everyone was great and it was such a good time. And yeah, all the concerts at Lala were awesome. I talked to Young the Giant. Tate McRae was such a sweetheart. Like, I mean, there were just some really awesome artists in Chicago and showing up and talking so well about our city. And that was an awesome thing.
That's awesome. Now I do want to jump ahead to an event that we're looking forward to in 2022. And I want to go first because I had to go back and look it up. So Lady Gaga's Stupid Love came out at the end of February of 2020. The next week she announced where she's doing a couple of shows and Wrigley Field was on that list. I got tickets. It got canceled, postponed to 2021. So I was like, all right, we got to deal with this in 2020. And then 2021 got canceled. It's supposed to take place next year. That's the one that I'm looking forward to. I've been waiting. This will be my 3rd year waiting for that show.
Oh my God. Yeah. Once again, just because I had such a good time at Lala, I'm hoping that like by summer, which I think is actually a far enough out deadline, like we've figured everything out and we can all be outside, even if it's mask on, listening to live music again. I'm interested to see what the Grammys will look like this year. I know a lot of people bought tickets, but we'll see how they change things, you know, just with spikes and stuff like that, because that's at the end of next month already. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I'm a little nervous at the same time, and just hopeful for 2022 and live music and concerts and plays and everything else.
Oh, exactly. Let's talk plays, musicals. Did you see anything this year or anything you're looking forward to checking out?
Yeah, not in person, unfortunately, because I do love seeing plays in Chicago. I do improv with a lot of people who work at theaters. throughout the city. So I would love to go to the Goodman and see a serious play, but I've seen a lot of televised stuff. Like I watched Andrew Garfield's Tick, Tick, Boom. And I can't remember whether or not I saw the Disney Plus recording of Hamilton this year or last year. It all blends together.
It's all blending all together. Exactly.
Yeah. But I thought Andrew Garfield did an amazing job in Tick, Tick, Boom. And I kind of consider Bo Burnham's Inside as a musical, stand-up musical hybrid meta view from a 20-something-year-old of the crisis and everything going on right now. And I highly recommend, if anyone likes smart comedy, I mean, that is the special to watch.
Awesome. I think my favorite is a show called The Play That Goes Wrong. It is now at the Broadway Playhouse. It's playing through the end of January, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen on stage. It's a farce, and it's basically a spoof on a production where everything doesn't go as planned. So things are falling, people are tripping, cast members are going in and out. And it's just this team of like insanely talented Chicagoans putting this production on. So if you haven't had a chance to go see it, it's here for about another month here. So go ahead and check it out here in Chicago. Now let's talk about binging. What did you binge this year?
Okay. Well, while it was water cooler talk and hot, I saw Squid Games like everybody else. But Nicole Kidman is on fire the past like 3 years via HBO and whatever production companies she's working with. Cause like, I mean, The Undoing was amazing with Hugh Grant. And then she was also in 9 Perfect Strangers with Melissa McCarthy. And that was also hilarious. But those were only like 1 season shows. They were pilots, you're watching this pilot season and they were both great. And now it's like, okay, what do I watch now? So I highly recommend, you have to get through a couple of episodes first, but if you need something where you want 6 seasons to binge through, I think Cillian Murphy and the Peaky Blinders crew is so talented, and that's on Netflix, and you can binge the whole thing, and it gets better every season where you're like, what could possibly go wrong now? And you've got Tom Hardy from blockbuster actor who shows up and is one of my favorite characters in television history in the character he plays in that show. And like Adrian Brody's in it too at some point. So all these really famous, really talented actors seem to make cameos in that show. And it's just so well done and cinematic. Yeah.
I think mine would be The Other Two. Have you heard of that show?
Is that with Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd?
No, this is with Molly Shannon. So the story is that she's the mom. She has 3 kids. The youngest is this like viral internet star. And it's mainly about like his rise of fame. But then they have these 2 other siblings that are, not as successful. So it's basically, that's why it's called The Other Two, because it's about the other 2 siblings who have to like live up to the image of this certain brother on there. And Molly Shannon is funny, and the whole rest of the cast is insanely funny. Let's final one, restaurants. Where did you order from? What did you eat the most? Is there a favorite restaurant of yours 2021?
Yeah, you know what? There's probably one that sticks out in my mind because it's not too expensive. It's so fun to go to, kind of low key, great vibes. I love Pauly G's in Logan Square. And not just for the fact that like it's vibey, like it kind of just gives you this tavern style feel, and everyone's very Logan Square styled. But like if you're vegan, they have vegan pizza. If you're gluten-free, they have gluten-free pizza. And it is going to be the best like Detroit style pizza you've ever had.
Yeah, I can't remember what was in there before, but I just love the vibe of the inside of that restaurant.
Right. When anything's industrial and you can tell like they haven't redone the ceiling or anything else, as long as there's no mold, I'm happy about it.
I think mine would be Bub City. That's every time I got a chance to go out, I was like, Bub City, that's my place to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Bub City too. I mean, there's some great finds in River North and all around the city, depending on your budget and what you can afford at that time. But happy hours, I mean, if you want to go to like somewhere where that you can't afford generally, show up at 5 p.m., even 4 p.m. if you can get off work. And there's some great ways that you can check some stuff out on budgets in Chicago too.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no, especially now with everybody, some people working from home, you can be creative as far as I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying you can be creative with your accessibility, bring your laptop with you, Pizzeria Portofino. That's another favorite one of mine. That view right there is like unbelievable.
We went to RPM Italian the other night at like 4:30, 5 o'clock and got like a couple of drinks, and a couple of appetizers and regular meals. And everything was like half the price because we sat by the bar, which I thought was even vibier, which I loved.
That's awesome. Yeah, great tips on that too. And thank you so much for your time today. Make sure you go ahead and listen to Dash. He's going to be out there this whole weekend, reliving some of our favorite songs and memories of 2021. We got a lot of things to look forward to in 2022. And, hopefully we'll get to hang out at Lollapalooza again this year,
Yeah, Rudy, I hope to talk to you 100 more times in 2022. That's my resolution.
That's the best resolution ever. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.